One mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. I do not consider myself a fan of Sean Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy Love, Brother Love Combs. But one doesn't have to be a fan to acknowledge a simple truth about his recent jury trial. I think the primary reason he was acquitted of those sex trafficking and RICO charges is because he was overcharged in the first place. Mine is not to opine on his guilt or innocence on any of the charges the feds brought against him. But I predicted months ago that he would beat the most serious charges because, as usual, prosecutors have a really bad habit of overcharging black men. Dave Chappelle said it best, Puffy is in a RICO case all by himself, man. Hilarious and arresting at the same time. When prosecutors put a target on the backs of black men, they throw everything at them just to see what sticks. And too often, just like in the Puffy case at the very end, they move to dismiss some of the charges and then double down on the ones they think they can win. It's racist and it's wrong, and somebody ought to say so. I think I just did. Not for the benefit of Puffy, but on behalf of all the other black men who have been and sadly will be woefully overcharged in the future. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Protests and anthems, yes we chant. A movement of people, it's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the point where the business is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, I best align.
You are streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and boom, bam, boom. There I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never miss an episode. And we got some great conversations that you want to hold on to, including our special conversation with Maryland Governor Wes Moore just yesterday. Keep an eye out for your push notification. As soon as that podcast drops, you'll have it right there in the palm of your hand, and you can tap into that conversation. I can't go another moment without wishing my brother a happy birthday. It's July 9th, which means it's my brother Joe's birthday. He is 40 plus years old. We'll just say that. And I want to wish him a happy birthday. I'm sure he's celebrating with my nephew and my sister-in-law outside of Chicago in some grand way. But yes, I mentioned my brother Joe. Yes, somebody named Nii-Quartelai can have a brother named Joe, and David, and James, and John. It's just the luck of the draw that I got Nii-Quartelai. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. All right. We have a great show in store for you today. We'll be talking to a mayor from the Midwest. We talked to mayors in different parts of the country. They play a very important role. You might remember that Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass phoned in the second hour of yesterday's show to give us an update from the front lines of what's happening in Los Angeles as the federal government continues to militarize the streets of LA and intimidate the people of LA. We're talking about mobile medical unit staff, like the folks over at St. John's Community Health who were at MacArthur Park when the National Guard rolled up in Humvees, right? And so Mayor Bass called to keep it real with us and to check in with us from the front lines. And so many mayors across the country are on the front lines. So we'll be talking to a mayor from the Heartland in a few moments. But in our second hour, I want to share with you an interview that we did with April Verrett in full. We gave you a little taste on Monday, but we'll share it with you in full. April Verrett, of course, is the president of SEIU International Labor Union. We caught up with her over at the Essence Festival. You don't want to miss that conversation. But now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Kicking us off, Trump courts African leaders at the White House. I was there in the room as the president of West African countries of Senegal and Liberia, Guinea-Bissau, Mauritania, Gabon. We're all in Washington this week for a 3-day mini summit hosted by President Trump, part of what the White House describes as a push to deepen, quote, commercial opportunities between the U.S. and African nations and replace aid with trade. Speaking to an assembled press and leaders in the state dining room today, the president praised the region for its vibrance and opportunity, saying, quotes, "There's great economic potential in Africa, like few other places," touting its very valuable lands. Okay. It's great minerals, it's great oil deposits. So many of us have known for a long time how resource-rich Africa is, but Trump added that the U.S. approach would be shifting from aid to trade. And in the long run, he says this will be far more effective and sustainable and beneficial than anything else that we could be doing together. Anything else? Why can't we do both? Why has it got to be just trade? Why can't it be aid and trade? What's up with that? I had an opportunity to ask the president a few questions today. I had a few questions on my mind, and anybody that watches the press briefing or watches these interactions that the president has with the press, that it's, sometimes you get a question in, sometimes you don't. And today I did. It was important to, number one, ask the president about how he was going to respond to China. China's approach to tariffs on the continent is vastly different. Quite frankly, China is reportedly softening their impact on U.S. tariffs in Africa, announcing last month that they would halt charges on imports for nearly all of its African partners. And so it begs the question, well, how is the president thinking about his tariff policy? How's he thinking about it? How is he thinking about mitigating China's influence? How's he thinking about our approach to tariffs if the other big player on the continent is saying, okay, we won't charge you any tariffs? You can go to my social, you can go to KBLA social to check out what the president's response was to that question. And on top of that, I asked him about the IRS. I don't know if you heard about this, but on Monday, the IRS said that churches can now endorse political candidates. And so I asked him what his reaction was and how he expects us to influence some of the work that is afoot on the continent. We know that there are a lot of American churches, for example, that are doing missionary work on the continent. Should we expect for that to become political work? What happens to the separation between church and state? What happens when a church or a faith-based organization is doing political work or endorsing a political candidate that's at odds with this president and his agenda? May they suddenly find themselves the focal point of an audit? All very important questions that deserve answers. And so go to our KBLA socials, and you'll have a chance to take a look at what the president told me earlier today. All right. In other news, because, this is a busy news day. The news stops for nobody. Texas is relying on FEMA, but state leaders said it should be cut. NPR is reporting that in the wake of the deadly floods in central Texas, Governor Greg Abbott praised President Trump for quickly approving a disaster declaration for Kerr County, the hardest hit area. The declaration, in case you didn't know, it unlocks federal money to assist with disaster response. That includes paying for debris removal, for search and rescue experts who are working around the clock, and for housing and food and other immediate necessities for those who lost their homes in the floods. But such assistance may not be available in the future. That's right. President Trump proposed eliminating the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which provides billions of dollars in assistance to communities that are hit by disasters. He argues that states should take on more responsibility for responding to and preparing for extreme weather and disasters. Texas leaders are helping Trump realize that goal. And so it begs the question, where do you stand? This idea that, we're only in favor of disaster relief when we need it, but when other people need it, not so much. When we come forward, we are traveling to America's heartland to talk to Mayor Quentin Hart of Waterloo, Iowa. We want to get his take on this and so many other trending topics that our nation's mayors are on the front lines of. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Mayor Quentin Hart, when we come forward.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time. Whenever news breaks, while we're on the air, it's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580. And we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that Black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops, I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77. I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's going to love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near you.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me! National news, the consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. I'm really delighted to welcome one of the finest mayors we have here in the United States, holding it down in America's heartland. I want to welcome Mayor Quentin Hart, who's holding it down, of all places, in Iowa. In Iowa. Who knew that we had a black mayor in Waterloo, Iowa?
Right. Man, well, first of all, the pleasure is absolutely mine. So incredible work. Continue shining that torchlight on the issues that we're facing every day. But yes, Waterloo, Iowa. Little known secret, Waterloo, Iowa, we're about 68,000 people, 18% African American, growing Latino population, large Bosnian population, Congolese. First dual French and English kindergarten class in the state. So yeah, you don't think of diversity when you think of Iowa, but you haven't been to Waterloo.
Well, I have not been to Waterloo yet, but I have a feeling by the time we wrap up this conversation, I'm going to be looking for plane tickets to come visit you in Waterloo, Iowa. But you are also a part of the leadership of the U.S. Conference of Mayors.
Yes, sir.
And as I was saying earlier in the show, mayors are on the front lines. You all are the canary in the coal mine when it comes to elected officials that have to solve people's problems, from blight and tree trimmings and all that sort of everyday sort of mundane stuff,
right,
to protecting your residents who may be vulnerable to these mass deportation efforts. Talk to us about how that particular issue is hitting the Midwest, hitting Waterloo, Iowa.
Well, first to the first point, as a mayor, it's not like we can take a recess and go home for a couple months and then come back. Every day we're faced with some of the challenges and issues, and as part of the Conference of Mayors, we're having these large conversations about how we can fix local issues. And so very much always at work, and I call it as this country turns, right? It's a new drama, because 1 week it's conversations about deportation, and next week it's conversation about defunding community development. To the next week we have no Job Corps, and so we are constantly under some level of threat to be able to provide the resources and solutions that our community members need. And especially when you live in a city where there's no such thing as a Democratic pothole or Republican pothole. It is people need issues. And with regards to the immigration conversation, we have a very large workforce. The city does not have a lot of people that may be here that may be undocumented, a very small portion of it. But when you have a very large Haitian community, and within that Haitian community, their visa status has been cut by a year or two, that has a significant impact on those that were here legally, having to leave here or not being able to help and provide and fill some of these positions within our workforce. And so there are a lot of people that are scared. And, it doesn't just impact, those that are work with our workforce or those that have lived here a number of years, but it also impacts our local economy, from stores to places that they're living at. So this impact, these changes that have come all of a sudden, are having shock waves throughout Waterloo, throughout Iowa, and throughout our entire country.
I really appreciate you, Mr. Mayor, really sort of connecting the dots for us, because I think there are a lot of folks out there that may be monitoring these mass deportations, these ICE raids, and might have said, well, for the folks who voted for that, sorry for you, right? Or there are folks out there that may say that, all of this may just sort of be par for the course. Maybe these folks don't belong here. But the reality is that we're all in the same ship.
Right.
We're all in the same ship. And when suddenly people are afraid to go to work, I mean, we're hearing stories in California, where our home station is, of farm workers.
Right.
That are afraid to go to work, hotel workers that are afraid to go to work for fear that, there may be an ICE raid situation. And so, talk to us about the climate on the ground in Waterloo. We know you don't have a huge undocumented population, but you just said there's a large Haitian community there.
Yes.
Talk to us about the climate. Is there a climate of fear that's growing in Waterloo, Iowa?
There's a constant climate of fear. We have a very large packing plant here, where a lot of our neighbors and residents and folks are actually working at. But and so recently I had an opportunity, along with I think 16 other mayors, to give comments in the New York Times. And I want to say this comment now. And the worst thing about all of this is that immigration and a pathway to citizenship has become a political jargon, right? Like, you demonizing people are here. When you hear that less than 10% of people that are here undocumented are the ones that do commit crimes. Of course, no one wants to add those that are committing crimes to their community. But when you hear the other 90% are hardworking people that are making a difference, that are paying into our system, that are making contributions, that's tough. But anytime immigration becomes a political football to kick back and forth, and demonizing is what gains people votes, that's a problem. This challenge needs to be solved. And we need Congress, we need our Senate, we need them to work on a pathway to citizenship, not just for those that can afford $5 million of gold cards or platinum cards or whatever you call it, but people that have a real pathway to citizenship, that are grounded here, that have been here, that have not committed crimes. That's what's needed in this country right now. And our entire economy suffers in the balance while this political football begins to get kicked back and forth, and the demonizing of human beings that are contributing to our communities.
Mr. Mayor, we know that Iowa plays such an important role in presidential politics. It's an early primary state, early caucus state. I have a feeling that anybody who has an interest in being the next president that plans on coming to Iowa to pound the flesh better come with some solutions. Talk to us about how just this issue alone is changing the political temperature in Iowa, and why both Democrats and Republicans should pay attention if they want to be competitive in Iowa come 2028?
Well, the state of Iowa, when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to feeding the entire world, whether it's through our crops, whether it's through pork plants or beef plants or chicken plants, or some of our heavy companies that produce fertilizer, whatever it is, even John Deere is a global manufacturer, right? And so all of these conversations from the demonizing of people's immigration status and those changes have an impact on our local community. I can't remember the exact number of those that may be undocumented working within the state of Iowa. Although that number is very small, it does represent a large portion of those that are working on some of our in some of our agricultural area basins that are doing construction work and doing a number of different things to help build up this community. So we need solutions. As I mentioned, we don't get to take a break as mayors and say, okay, I'll deal with this 3 months from now when I get back off recess. We need to deal with those issues now. When we need someone that's coming in here trying to figure out a pathway to success and not utilizing the demonization of human beings as a way to launch their political status in greater ways. And so that's what we need to have here, real solutions and real opportunities to have that conversation about a pathway to opportunity here.
When we come forward, I want to chat with you about the recent U.S. Conference of Mayors annual meeting that took place in Tampa, Florida, with nearly 200 mayors from across the country that were there talking about a number of issues that you all have to address with rapid fire. More than 85% of Americans living in the U.S., mayors are on the front lines of a lot of these challenges. We're going to learn what is keeping you up late at night, what you're hearing from other mayors, what's keeping them up late at night. I have a feeling it's not all that different from what's keeping us all up a little bit late tonight. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Mayor Quentin Hart of the city of Waterloo, Iowa, when we come forward.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. President Trump is hosting 5 African leaders at the White House to build economic ties.
You guys are going to fight, we're not going to trade. And we seem to be quite successful in doing that.
Trump says the U.S. wants to strengthen partnerships, but stressed peace is key for future trade. The host of Subway Take says former Vice President Kamala Harris and the show agreed to delete her interview. Kareem Rama called it confusing and weird, noting Harris changed her take last minute to, quote, bacon is a spice, end quote, which didn't sit well with him as a Muslim. And a Black female electrician is suing New Jersey Transit for $10 million, claiming discrimination. Barbara Williams, the only Black woman in her department, says she's been denied overtime and promotions in favor of male workers and forced to supervise inexperienced staff, doubling her workload. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Problems on the East 105 before Crenshaw Boulevard heading through Hawthorne. A big rig broke down, and that stalled big rigs blocking one of the middle lanes. East 105, the entire span of the freeway is slow from LAX to the 605. 5 northbound, just past Garfield, a 3-vehicle collision clearing from the left lane. 215 southbound at Baseline Street in San Bernardino is a big rig fire. It's blocking the 3 right-hand lanes as well as the Baseline on-ramp to the South 215.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Ben Shelton's history chase at Wimbledon is over. Shelton, the only African-American to reach the quarterfinals in the men's bracket, was eliminated in straight sets Wednesday morning by Yannick Sinner of Italy. Sinner, the number one tennis player in the world, beat Shelton 7-6, 6-4, and 6-4. The 22-year-old Shelton was attempting to become the first African-American man to win the Wimbledon championship since Arthur Ashe in 1975. One of the perks for Hampton and North Carolina A&T getting chosen to play in the NBA HBCU Classic is that each school will receive a $100,000 donation from the NBA. The NBA also covers all travel expenses for both teams. Hampton and North Carolina A&T will play each other during NBA All-Star Weekend at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The All-Star Game is February 15th. This will be the 5th HBCU Classic sponsored by the NBA. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. And I thank you, thank you.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfiresupport@QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and he is Mayor Quentin Hart of the city of Waterloo, Iowa. Yes, a black mayor of Waterloo, Iowa. How many black people are there in Iowa?
In Iowa? Oh, you got me on that one. Probably about 50,000. So the largest population of blacks are in Des Moines, the largest number, but the highest percentage is in Waterloo. So we're maybe anywhere 50, 60,000 blacks throughout the entire state. And Waterloo is the first city to ever have a majority black city council as well.
Oh, wow.
So we currently have a majority black city council.
Okay. All right, Waterloo. I'm telling you, you
want to know where you heard of Waterloo other than me? Have you heard of the 1619 Project?
Of course. I just saw Nicole Hannah-Jones at the Essence Festival.
Nicole, that's my homegirl. I taught her how to play cards. So all that energy, she learned
You
that
taught
from me.
Nicole Hannah Jones how to play
Man,
spades?
all you got to do is ask her. But Nicole is from Waterloo, Iowa. So
Oh wow!
we
Oh,
just
that's so
talked the other
cool.
day. We did one of the most impactful African American readings back in February as well. So yeah, know her very well.
Well, there we have it. There we have it. Waterloo, Iowa, the home of
We
uh,
got we got some
Nicole Hannah.
surprises here.
A few. Well, that's a grand surprise.
Right.
She is Nicole Hannah Jones is an American treasure,
Absolutely.
and her contribution to the canon will age very well, I predict.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what went down at the U.S. Conference of Mayor annual meeting in Tampa, Florida recently. What's keeping mayors up late at night? We're seeing a lot of mayors in the headlines. Just yesterday, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass called into our show to give us an update on the impacts of the federal presence in Los Angeles, and how it's intimidating everyone from mobile clinic workers to children in parks in places like MacArthur Park in LA. What are you hearing from other mayors across the country?
Well, what do they say? A threat to cities anywhere is a threat to cities everywhere. And so, at the conference of mayors this year, there were so many different issues that there needed attention and focus on. I mean, our homeless population and mental health population across my city and other cities across the entire United States seems to be on the rise. And so, it gives us a great opportunity to have a convening of best practices and hear what a Mayor Bass is doing, or hear what a Mayor Reed is doing in Montgomery, but to hear what people are doing across this country that are facing the same issues. Just the advance of technology and AI within our local communities, and how we use those tools to be able to help our communities to make better data-driven decisions, but at the same time, to be able to utilize some of that functionality to be able to help everyone across our communities. Community development and housing, our ability to be able to find federal funds, which we've always had, to be able to make an impact on those most vulnerable in our community. And then housing has been a challenge all across this country. Whether it is housing affordability, or whether it is the quality of housing, or whether it is our ability to work and deal with predatory landlords that don't create safe housing for people to be able to live in. Affordable housing, right? On all different age ranges and socioeconomic levels. How do we change our dynamics when it comes to affordable housing? If I'm not mistaken, there was a study done, and I believe it was up to 40 million homes are needed to be built over the course of the next several years to be able to keep up with that demand. And so how do we make sure that in areas where there's redlining at, that we can continue to build houses and make sure people have the same opportunity in this economy? Children, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Mayor, so I've got to ask you, there are a lot of headlines that are swirling about how hostile the Trump administration is to state and local leaders across the country, not just in California, but again, lots of places across the country. Are you hearing any areas where either you or other mayors are having some success in terms of working with the current administration? Because when it comes to, healthcare, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to a lot of issues that folks are talking about at their kitchen table, it feels and seems as if this administration has been quite hostile. And so, I want to give you a chance to push back, and to illuminate a path that you and other mayors have found, if any, working with this current administration.
Well, I'll be honest. The fact of the matter is, and I say this, our challenge as mayors is that no matter what comes down the pike, there's still an expectation from people here that we're going to be able to solve those problems. So I would love to continue to say that this is happening, which it is, but it's really forced us to have even greater communication with one another to try to figure out how to deal with it. Your head literally has to be on a swivel. Right now, so I can't give you great news right now. I'm sorry. But right now, not only is it dealing with the feds, but it's also dealing with our state government, from them taking away what type of books we can read by our state, focusing on one of the most racist episodes I've ever seen, with the elimination of diversity, equity, inclusion within public institutions. And so we actually in Iowa are getting it from multiple ways, all while they're trying to shrink our budgets for us to be able to take care of some of the basic services that we need. So what we have tried to do is to reach out to some of our congressional and state folks, congressional and Senate, and like, hey, we have a grant program where it's going to impact if it is taken away from us if you don't intercede. But at the same time, these changes to SNAP, which has already been made on our state level, but now it's on the federal level, is going to mean the eradication of hundreds of jobs and loss of dollars. The impacts to Medicaid is going to equate to loss of jobs and wait times. Any other work that's being done to eliminate jobs and cut dollars from veteran affairs. My father was a veteran, right? How is that going to have an impact? So we are constantly in a brace position over the course of this first 6.5 months, and it may force us in some areas to figure out how we can work with philanthropy to try to backfill some of the areas and things that are taken from us, which we believe should be allocated proportionally like it has been done. That's the conversation about the elimination of community development in budgets is one of the most stupidest thing I've ever heard as an elected official. Leave that money where it needs to be, grow that money. This impacts hundreds and thousands of people in local communities. So I want to give you the positive forecast. We have a resilient community. We have great philanthropy that has worked with us to try to fill the gap. But I'm still waiting on those opportunities, and it's very early to see. The less that they touch, the better we can do. Okay, just maybe back in about 4 months, let me come back and give you that rosy outlook. But it's a challenge right now.
No,
we have to deal with it. But at the same time, our heads are on a swivel because you never know what change is going to happen next.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we appreciate you keeping it real with us. We're not looking for a rosy picture. We're looking for folks to keep it real with us so that people and their families and communities can make the best decisions they can based upon the hand that they're dealt. Right. Before we let you go in our remaining minutes, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your working relationship with your Senator Joni Ernst. You might remember that not too long ago, she faced intense questioning from constituents, eliciting even shouts and boos at a community town hall over her support for President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill that is now law. One of her dismissive comments that drew particularly strong response was when she said to constituents' concerns over Medicaid cuts, quote, "We're all going to die. We're all going to die." The next day, the senator doubled down on her comments in the sarcastic apology video that was posted on social media. Is this the Joni Ernst, the Senator Joni Ernst that you know? And can you rely on the senator as a partner in the days and months ahead?
Well, if we take away Medicaid for those that are most vulnerable, if we reduce the amount of SNAP and food support that we give to vulnerable families, if we continue to take away dollars from our Veterans Affairs, I mean, is she being prophetic and saying that it's going to have a huge impact on the livelihoods and those being able to get the services to help them survive? So I don't, was her predicting the future if we don't make some of the changes? And so I mean, just to be fair, I haven't heard her make those types of comments before. And I haven't had a conversation with her. The only thing that I can do is try to relay to our senators what the impact is going to be. Some of the very grants that they wrote letters of support for are some of the ones that could potentially lose funding for. So all we're doing is saying, if it was important then, it's important now, and you know why it's important. These folks have been to this community, they see the challenges. And so the best thing that we can do is hold their feet to the fire, and whatever quirks or whatever she blurts out, I need her to do her job, and I need her to work for the people of this community. And that is my expectation of her, whether they're Republican or Democrat. I need to know, and I need to relay the impacts from those decisions. I mean, she's a veteran. I mean, we're talking about impacts to the services we provide for veterans. And so not to support that for her or anybody else is condescending and is hypocritical. So we relay the real impacts of what's happening here, and we hope for the best. But of course, we also have to prepare for the worst at most times.
Speaking of preparing for the worst, I got about a minute left, Mayor Hart, and it's going to be all yours. Our hearts are breaking in terms of the tragedy that's unfolding in Texas related to the flood. I know in the neighboring state, your neighboring state of Illinois, homeowners insurance rates are expected to rise to over 27% in August. That's as reported by the Chicago Tribune. They're saying that State Farm in particular is raising homeowner insurance rates in Illinois by a whopping 27.2% beginning August 15th. Talk to us about any concern that you might have of a similar effect in Iowa and what that might mean for some of your constituents.
Man, you just hit me because I got State Farm. Right. But we've had these situations before where regardless of where the natural disaster was across the entire United States, real people in our communities are feeling those effects and having to pay for those disasters we have. But it is a challenge, and it's going to be hard for people that are already on the margins. And at the same time, Doctor, I also would want to send my condolences and my prayers to those that were impacted, the young people, to the families, to everyone there that is dealing with this. So yeah, it's tough times across this country, in Waterloo and other places. But we are still going to make sure we make our communities thrive. And I am blessed and feel highly favored to be in the position of mayor and to join you today.
Well, we are really grateful that you took the time out to join us. I really mean that. I'm going to come to Waterloo. I'm going to find a reason to get to Waterloo to come and visit this city, the city that is the hometown of Nicole Hannah-Jones and so many other important folks to the culture. Our thanks to Mayor Quentin Hart of the city of Waterloo, Iowa. Please come back again soon.
All right. Thank you.
You're listening to and streaming a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580, the quiet part out loud when we come forward.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is a More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
LA County's Justice Care and Opportunities Department, also known as JCOD, is changing the convicted, come home from jail or prison, or has been justice involved, JCOD can help. We offer access to housing, employment, court reminders, clothing, education, and more. At JCOD, we believe your life should not be defined by your worst moment, and everyone deserves a second chance. JCOD's Justice Connect Support Center is open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Call us at 833-LAC-JCOD. That's 833-522-5263, or visit us at jcod.lacounty.gov. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube at LAC JCOD. All services are free and confidential. JCOD serves the justice-impacted population all across LA County. Your future isn't behind you, it's waiting. Reach out by calling 833-LAC-JCOD. That's 833-522-5263, or visit jcod.lacounty.gov.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. It's about that time for the quiet part out loud. Saw this headline and I almost did a double take. The Washington Post reporting on how conservatives beat back a Republican sell-off of public land. Well, we've been keeping our eye on this for some time. We've had folks like Dr. Jocelyn Imani on this show. She's with the Trust for Public Land, National Trust for Public Land. And, she is following these issues even more closely than us. But what caught my attention is that when a GOP senator proposed using federal land for affordable housing, right-wing forces revolted. They revolted. To do what? You might wonder, to protect what they see as a symbol of American greatness. Let me explain. To his surprise, Patrick Payne had ended up in a group text with Mike Lee. Payne is a conservative Idaho outdoorsman who voted for President Trump. Lee is a Republican senator from Utah. And the group was organized by an acquaintance that Payne made online, and the topic was homeschooling. But Payne saw an opportunity to directly challenge Lee on his proposal to sell up to 3.3 million acres of federal land in not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 10, but 11 Western states for the construction of affordable housing. He texted the senator that Washington was, quote, better than BlackRock, the global investment firm. And Lee's response was that he'd trust anyone owning that land more than the U.S. government. That's what the sitting United States senator said. Several days later, he posted a screenshot of the exchange on X. The screenshot, posted by a self-described regular citizen with few online followers, it racked up, get this, 500,000 views. And it became a flashpoint in a conservative revolt against Senator Lee's proposal, once powered by hunters, but also prominent podcasters and far-right activists. You see, when Senator Lee scaled back his amendment to the One Big Beautiful Bill in late June, he said that he had listened to hunters. When he fully withdrew that days later, he said that he had been unable to guarantee that the land would go to American families, not to China, not to BlackRock, and not to any foreign interests. And so its end was met with celebration. Celebration across the political landscape by Americans who treasure public parks and forests and open spaces. Yet, as even some liberal advocates acknowledge, the victory was one carried over the finish line by, guess who? MAGA Republicans and others on the right. They embraced big government when it came to public lands in the West, where the federal government owns nearly half of the terrain. And so why am I sharing this story with you? I'm sharing it with you in the spirit of what I hope this show does best, which is challenge us to re-examine some of our underlying assumptions. I don't think anybody saw that on their bingo card. I don't think anybody saw any MAGA resistance to the selling off of millions and millions of acres of public land. But look what happened. And if it can happen as it relates to public lands, what other public interest might MAGA be willing to push back on? It's worth a thought. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. In our next hour, you're going to hear my interview with April Barrett, the president of SEIU International. I can't wait to share that with you. Also, you're going to hear from Rashad Newsom, artist Rashad Newsom, on being the digital griot. I'm going to tell you all about that in minutes. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Former President Biden's doctor is refusing to answer Congress questions about Biden's mental fitness, citing patient privacy and the Fifth Amendment.
We have a constitutional right that anyone who may be under fire can invoke. I think that he did what any good lawyer